Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. The last time we were here, we had some pretty rough luck. We encountered a really tough fight with some slimy worms, which resulted in Lunica Arcadi's first death. And then we got another death, I think, against the werewolf boathouse old man, if memory serves. So we spent quite a lot of the previous episode retracing our steps, redoing things that we'd already done, and generally doing them worse than previously. But we did learn some things. We learnt that we probably don't want to go into that tower because there was no checkpoint there, and it resulted in that really tough worm fight. So the last time that we went back through our previous actions, we came this way instead, through the main entrance into the big imposing looking building, which we believe leads towards the Warlock himself, who currently holds the amulet, which is the reason that we're here in the first place. So this is where we left off. We had just had a rest on the bench in this strange sort of subterranean cemetery here. And we're now facing a decision. The feeling of death and decay surrounds you, and you sense that this place is one of an arcane, ancient evil. Do we want to climb the bridge of stairs, which I guess is this thing just to the left of the text box here, ascending above the weird glowing eye-filled chasm there? Or do we want to snoop around the graveyard first? I'm a little bit trepidatious about exploring the graveyard, considering the ill luck we've had in snooping around things previously, but we are still looking for 2 more keys. We found one Zagor key, and the Soul Keeper person told us that there are 3 keys needed in order to get the maximum treasure from Zagor should we actually find him and defeat him. It sounded like you get diminishing treasure with fewer keys. So ideally we'd like to get at least 1 more key to try and get more than the minimum amount of treasure. Although maybe that's being optimistic that we will actually beat the guy. I know how to beat him in the book, but I'm not expecting this to be the same. So let's snoop around the graveyard and see if we find anything interesting. Test your luck. Our luck is actually okay at the moment. We have 9 points out of the maximum 10, so we actually have a fair chance of passing this. So we need to get 9 or less on 2 dice. So it's not impossible to fail it, but we're likely to pass. Let's give it a go. 6. Okay, that's fine. We did lose a luck point for doing that. As I've mentioned before, you lose a luck point every single time you test your luck, pass or fail. We found something. Tucked behind one of the gravestones is a red flask. You've found a potion of strength. Well, we still don't know what that does. In one of our failed attempts, we bought a potion of strength, but never got a chance to use it, and it's not clear what effect it has. Well, the only option left now is to climb this bridge of stairs over the ravine, so let's do that. You begin to cross the vast dark void using the ominous bridge. Yeah, there are no handrails or anything, so yet another health and safety hazard in Zagor's work environment here. Swirling around below you in the depths of the void are the trapped souls of the dead. I assume those are the drifting eyes, then. The souls begin to rise before bursting suddenly forth from the void encompassing the bridge. Their wails fill your ears and you look on in horror as some of the shapes materialize in front of you. So we're going to have to fight some souls. "You have disturbed our rest," one of the ghosts whispers. "Now you must join us in our eternal slumber." Well, you didn't seem like you were resting. You were floating around in a ravine. That doesn't seem like the place for a kip. Oh, alright. We're going to have to fight 4 enemies here. This is, I think, the largest number of enemies we've ever faced. Previously, I think the record was the slime worms, of whom there were 3, and they absolutely destroyed us. So, this is worrying me a bit. We also don't know how these will behave. We don't know what kind of attacks they have, whether they're ranged, whether they're area of effect. if we move in any direction, then we're likely to be at risk from an attack. So I feel like probably the safest option is to poison strike the nearest ghost. I mean, there's a good chance that a ghost is going to be impervious to the poison effect, but hopefully we might at least initiate a clash if it attacks us. Now, we only have a 50-50 chance of winning that anyway, because the ghost has the same skill as we do, but it's probably our best option. Okay, it is indeed immune to the poison, but it looked like some of the ghosts moved and some of them attacked, and I didn't notice which ones wobbled this time, so we're kind of in trouble here. I don't know who's going to do what. I'm guessing that this one next to us, which moved this time, is probably going to attack us, so on the same principle again, let's attack it. Okay, well it did attack, but it didn't attack our current space. They seem to be behaving pretty strangely, just attacking in random directions. Let's do the same again, and hope that no one attacks the space where we are. Success. Okay, so I think 2 of them are going to attack. I tried to keep my eyes on them this time. I think this top left corner one didn't wobble, so that's going to move, but the other 2 did, so they're going to attack. So far, they haven't been attacking the space we're on, but just random other spaces. And they seem to only be able to attack adjacent spaces, so that's good. So I feel like probably it's wisest to apply the same principle again. Attack this one near us, because it will either attack a different space, in which case fine, or it'll attack where we are now, in which case we get a clash. Okay, it is a clash. Can we win it? Can we win it? Ooh, it's a tie. Okay, I think the top 2 are moving. The nearest one is attacking again. It's probably going to attack where we are again, so let's move out. Okay, I do not want to get stuck in a corner again. That went badly in one of the previous fights. The one immediately in front of us or above us here is moving, and it has to move away. I think the one next to it is going to be attacking, so let's attack that one back. Okay, it's a clash. Can we win? Okay, we did actually win this one. Luckily, the ghosts only have 4 stamina, which means that 2 normal hits should kill them. Okay, I didn't notice the wobbling again this time, so let's just attack this one. And it's another clash. I don't like these roll-offs, because they have the same skill as we do, so yeah. There was a good chance of that happening sooner or later, us losing the clash. Alright, I'm really not sure what to do here, because I don't want to get hemmed into the corner, but I don't know that there's necessarily anything we can do about it, other than keep wailing on these ghosts. Let's try and use a left... Left slash goes in the wrong direction. That's annoying. Oh. Apparently I accidentally used that attack. Okay, I think the one to the right of us is moving again. I didn't see it wobble. So let's attack this one above us here. Okay. Luckily, these ghosts seem to be pretty dumb. Now, this one is going to be attacking, so let's move and hope it doesn't attack here. Good. It's attacking again. Let's move again. Okay, and this time it's moving. I'm going to guess it's going to move sort of to our south here, so let's attack there. Ooh, okay. Well, their movements are kind of unpredictable, so our best chance of hitting them might actually to just keep getting into clashes, but I don't really like that idea, because it's basically a coin toss. Okay, so that one landed a hit on us, and it has weakened us, which means we deal less damage. That is bad. I didn't know these ghosts. I hadn't noticed that these ghosts had a special attack which allows them to hit 2 spaces at once. So we kind of walked into that. Let's take a stab at this. Okay, it's a clash. Yeah, we lost the clash. It's going to be moving this time. I'm going to guess it's sidestepping, because enemies do seem to like sidestepping in this game. Yeah. Okay, we landed a hit, and we're no longer weakened. So, although we only inflicted 1 damage that time, we should be able to start doing 2 again. But it does mean that it'll take more hits than it should to kill this thing. I think both of them are going to be attacking us now, so let's back up. Yeah. Okay, so the most injured one is going to be moving this time, and they do like sidestepping, so it might come closer or it might go further away. We only need to do 1 point of damage, so I'm going to try and hit it with a poison strike. Good, okay. Just 1 ghost left. I mean, we have taken 6 points of damage, which is poor, but it looks like hopefully we should actually win this. We only need to land 1 hit on this remaining ghost. Okay, it is going to be attacking. Let's back up. And this time it's moving. We'll move in closer. Oh, it actually didn't move. It stood on the spot. Okay, I don't want to keep dancing around this, so let's just fling attack at it. And attack at it. And we managed to beat the ghost. Again, we took 6 points of damage, which I'm not happy with at all. But we did at least survive. When I saw there were 4 of them, I did think for a second that it might be another death. And I think we can only sustain 1 more death before it becomes final. The ghosts slowly sink back into the depths of the swirling void. One of them remains and addresses you. You have proven your worth, Lunica Arcadia Vicard. Enter the domain of the dead at your peril. The Lord of the Undead will not be as kind as we would have been. That sounds nice. How do they know my name? Maybe Zagor knows I'm coming. Well, we have been murdering our way through his house, so quite possibly, yes. The last spirit sinks through the floor and joins the others back in the gloom below. So our only option is to continue climbing the bridge. A tall, carved archway looms ahead of you. To either side and above, rows of black windows face the gloom of the cavern. Out of the corner of your eye, you see faces staring at you from the darkness, only to then disappear when you turn to face them. That's pretty creepy. Bravely, you step through the imposing entrance and make your way inside. So now we're actually entering the domain of the dead. So this bit out here that was full of graves and ghosts was not part of the domain of the dead. You reach the end of the path. A strange stone pillar decorated with monstrous bones supports the room. There are paths leading to the left and right, and a wooden ladder to the left of the stone pillar leads upwards. Okay, so we've got this ladder that goes up a bony pillar, or we can go right or left. So this is basically just a crapshoot. There's absolutely no indication as to which way might be the way to go. I seem to remember reading somewhere that the received wisdom in game books is if you don't know where to go, go right. So let's do that. Plus I'm a bit intimidated by climbing up the bony pillar. You enter a sinister chamber. The room is dank and dreary, and a number of coffins, some sealed, are lined up against the wall of the room. You hear a ghostly whisper in the air. We will decide if you're worthy of our aid, adventurer. Experience the ordeal of fate. Ordeal of fate? Oh, we just can't catch a break in this adventure at all. There is a rumbling at the ground beneath your feet, and suddenly a coffin lid opens, revealing golden jewels shining and sparkling in front of your very eyes. This game could do with a little bit more proofreading. There are a few strangely written things and typos and stuff. But it's not the end of the world. So we're going to have to test our luck again. I mean, obviously, this pile of jewels is some kind of trap, but apparently we're too dumb to figure that out. So we're going to have to rely on whether we're lucky enough to realise it. 8 points of luck doesn't give us fantastic odds, but it's above average. Let's chuck these dice. 9, we failed it. So we stupidly reach into the coffin, like a fool. Standing still, you concentrate. The temptation is overwhelming. All of the riches right there for the taking. You cannot help yourself. Stepping forward, you eagerly scoop up the treasure. We're not even here for treasure. We're here for this specific amulet. Leave it. Which turns into ash in your hands. Again, the ghostly voice speaks. Such a weak will. You shall need to be prepared more than that if you wish to survive the domain of the dead. -5 luck, which almost guarantees that we will fail any future luck test. Fantastic. So the poor get poorer here. We failed a luck test and thus became unluckier and more likely to fail future ones. Feeling ashamed, you head for the spiral staircase. So we're going to head up these steps. I'm getting flashbacks to the last time we went up a spiral staircase and got killed by worms at the top. Reaching the top of the spiral staircase, you enter a large room. Various bits of wooden debris are strewn untidily across the floor. A prominent set of steps lead upwards at the rear of the room, while there is another door on your left. The room is deathly silent, and neither exit provides clues on where you should go next. Well, again, it's another kind of shot in the dark here. Although, there is a bench in the corner. This isn't the first time that we've gone into a room that has one of those... Oh, that was an accidental click. I was just pointing the pointing finger. I don't think the pointing finger is recorded in the video, but there's a sort of pointing gauntlet, which is my cursor here. And I accidentally clicked on the bench. In one corner is a crude wooden desk with a box on it. Nearby is a wooden bench suitable for resting. So it seems like sometimes the text doesn't point the benches out and you have to click on them directly, which is a weird design choice. In front of the steps lies a hideous-looking man-sized creature with warty skin, wild hair and long claws for fingernails. Your keen eye notices that there appears to be occasional movement from the body, but you can't be sure whether it is breathing or a corpse's involuntary twitch. Okay, so, warty, wild-haired figure lying there twitching. That box could contain some trinkets. Well, I would like to just sit on the bench. So we do have the option to stealthily sit down for a rest. We could sneak over to the desk and look in the box. We could try to sneak past the creature and exit through one of the doors. I think... I mean, my instinct is to try and sit down and get our stamina back, but I'm concerned that doing that will force us to take a luck test to see if we wake the thing up. So, maybe we should just leave. Because both of these rely on being stealthy. Then again, sometimes when we've been stealthy in the past, it's been a skill test, which wouldn't be so bad. I think we do need to heal, so let's sit down. As you move, the creature's eyes flash open. It sees you and gets to its feet. Its breathing becomes heavy and it stalks towards you. You must stand and fight it, which is the opposite of what we were trying to do here. You face a powerful adversary, a wight. This creature is large, strong, and evil. So, we wanted to rest because we were already quite hurt, and we didn't even get to make a roll to see if we successfully rested. The thing just woke up. Oh no, thinks Lunica Icardi to herself. This thing is pure evil. So we can either yank our weapon out and fight it, or we can leg it. I mean, if we fight it and win, then presumably we get to sit on the bench. But it does say it's powerful. So I don't feel great about our prospects. Plus, it would be immune to our poison effects, I imagine, being undead. So maybe it's safest to just leg it. But then who knows when we'll next see a bench. Let's fight it. Let's fight it. Brandishing your weapon, you strike the wight. However, it does not even react. The creature simply continues to approach you. Again and again you strike it, but the monster is completely unharmed by your attacks. It's one of those classic gamebook enemies that are impervious to certain types of weapons. I'm thinking immediately of the Hellgast from the Lone Wolf books, because that was the big series that I read/played as a child and adolescent. So, we don't have a suitable weapon to try and fight the thing with. The creature is now almost on top of you. You try to throw it off as it pins you to the ground, but its strength is too much for you. Then the wight begins to feast. Your adventure ends here. So we didn't even get to fight. We just got an ignominious death. And we didn't even get to revive, even though we had a revival stone left. That is it. That's the end of Lunica Arcadi, just like that. Eaten by a wight. Well, that went poorly. I would have thought we'd at least revive at the previous bench, because we did still have a resurrection stone left. But it seems that being eaten alive by the undead makes that not a possibility. So, just like that, in the blink of an eye, Lunica Arcadi is finished. I'm a little bit resentful about how little control we had in that last scene. When we tried to stealthily sit on the bench, we didn't even get to make a roll to see if we pulled it off, and then when the wight came to attack us, we didn't get to actually fight it. So it's one of those situations where we had as much chance of picking the wrong thing as picking the right thing, and the best way to survive it is to have played it before. I'm not the world's biggest fan of that kind of design, so not super chuffed with the way that ended. But let's have a look at... I'm not going to start up a new game now because it's pretty long. We've already been going for a few hours, but I do want to look at whether we've managed to unlock any new characters here. We've got 93 souls, so these 4 are the ones we already had access to. And these we have not got. Can we unlock them now that we have souls? Let's click on one and see. Okay, so we can buy them individually for a number of souls each. So let's see who seems like the most appealing here. Oh, wow. Okay, she costs 100 souls. Okay, so these get more expensive as you go to the right along the row. 300. Yeah, so they just grow in cost. So the only one we can actually afford is this guy, Wanushu, who was once the champion of the Bone Ridge clan, a tribe of hunters native to the Plain of Bones. A fierce warrior and keen-eyed tracker who was unequalled among his people at hunting down the colossal dinosaurs that migrate again across the savannas of his home. So once again, we have a strangely low-skill character. I would guess that the more and more expensive the characters get, the higher their stats get, I would guess. But I think the most skilled character we have at the moment is this one, Alexandra of Blacksand, who has a skill of 10. Yeah, I think the others are all less than that, because Lunica had 9, this guy, Aaron Godspeed, has 9, and this guy has 8, which is just bad. I'm really tempted to start up a new adventure with one of these, and see if we do at least a little bit better than we did with Lunica Arcadi. It'll also tell us something about whether the dungeon changes between characters. Let's do it. Let's, I wasn't going to. I was going to leave it after Lunica's adventure, but I'm in the mood, so let's start up Alexandra of Blacksand, because she actually has decently high skill. Her luck is quite poor, but her skill and her stamina are both pretty good, so let's give her a try. She's a famous adventurer with a deft sword arm, and she can sense dangerous situations before they happen. So, we saw a few references to Lunica's keen eye during the adventure, and the attributes that Alexandra here has are educated and lucky. So even though she has low luck, she has a lucky attribute. I don't know if that stacks the rolls in our favour or something, because like so many things in this game, it doesn't actually tell you what any of this stuff does. I mean, we still, despite having owned 2 of them, we still don't know what a strength potion does. Anyway, let's pick Alexandra of Blacksand and get stuck in. Okay, so we don't need the tutorial. Let's head into Firetop Mountain. don't actually know what Alexandra is here for, so hopefully it'll explain at the outset. The villagers of Anvil cheered with excitement as you began your 2-day hike to Firetop Mountain. Cries of, "Return to us safely, Alexandra, and may the luck of the gods be with you," rang out. Your fame reaches even to remote towns like Anvil. Your mysterious patron, a sorcerer known to you only as Kith, wants you to seek a massive ruby known as the Eye of the Cyclops and give it to Zagor, the warlock who rules this mountain. When you asked Kith about the significance of the ruby, the sorcerer only smiled and said, "You'll see." We should definitely be a bit more suspicious of someone who just says, "you'll see," when we ask him what the job is about. I am a little bit concerned that our mission here involves finding something to give to Zagor. That kind of suggests that we've been hired by evil here. So I'm going to take a strengthening sip of my tea before we continue. Alright, once again, undignified glugging removed by the magic of editing. Let's go. The citizens who live in the foothills of the mountain fear Zagor, quite rightly, and have been very reluctant to tell you anything that may help you find him, fearing for their own safety. You have mixed feelings about the adventure ahead, and you just hope that Kith's instructions are honourable and you do not let the local people down. He's asked us to deliver something to an evil warlock, a guy who is famously evil and murdered everyone who lived underneath his mountain. / revived them as the undead. So yeah, I doubt the instructions are honourable, to be quite frank. One thing is clear though, you will not be dealing with any ordinary wielder of magic. You must be on your guard. It takes you 2 days to reach the menacing looking mountain with its sharp rocky crags that jut out at unnatural angles. At the top you can see the eerie red colouring, probably some savage vegetation, which has given the mountain its name. You approach a cave, a known entrance used by a local band of orcs, your hand gripping the hilt of your longsword as you consider what dangers may lie ahead. Your adventure starts here. So there's that familiar cave entrance that Lunica entered through as well. Alexandra is going to peer into the gloom and then step inside. So, dark slimy walls, this is all the way we remember it. With the smell of orc up my nose, I have a feeling I'm going to meet some formidable foes. That ruby is in this mountain somewhere, so I'm going to have to ask politely. Using my sword, of course. Okay, moving on. So this is the same fork that we came to on our visit here with Lunica, and there's that orcish guard. So it looks like the layout of the dungeon is actually going to be the same for all the characters. So hopefully we can draw upon some of our prior knowledge. On the other hand, we went west here with Lunica, so I'm tempted to go east and see what we find. Let's do that. The sound of scurrying continues ahead of you, as well as the sound of heavy footsteps. Whatever is marching along the corridor can only be trouble. Agreed. A few yards ahead, at the limit of the light cast by your lantern, you catch sight of a cleft in the tunnel wall. So we can hide inside the cleft in anticipation of the owners of the feet arriving, or we can just sort of heft our weapon and prepare to fight whatever comes into view. Let's hide. I assume this will be some kind of test, although maybe not. Shuttering your lantern, you wait with bated breath in the darkness. Without knowing how many creatures there are, I should stay out of sight. You listen intently as the footsteps come closer and then pass by your hiding place, without the owners of those footsteps ever knowing you were there. Well, at least we didn't have to make a luck check or anything like that. Okay, we have the option to jump out and launch a surprise attack, or continue hiding. I feel like if we were going to leap out and spring an attack on them, then we could have just waited in the corridor instead. So let's remain hidden. As you wait in the darkness, listening to the receding footsteps, another sound comes to your ears. The cracking of rock. Okay, something that's going to be cracking rock sounds like bad news. Oh, what? You unshutter your lantern just as one of the granite walls of the narrow cleft fractures, and large grub-like heads with powerful mandibles break through the rock. They are rock grubs, and the monstrous insects are between you and the exit. So we really didn't have any way to avoid a fight one way or the other here. We were going to fight either the people in the corridor or these grubs. Hopefully, these aren't too tough. There are 2 of them, which is not great but not terrible. We don't have access to all the spaces though because of these big rocks blocking the way, so manoeuvrability is possibly a bit limited. Their skill is really low, so hopefully it shouldn't be too tough a fight. But as with all the other enemies, we don't actually know what kind of attacks they have. Let's start off by just taking a swing at this one that's right next to us. Okay, so far they've only done attacks that go adjacent. I think they're both moving this time. So do we think it's moving to sort of upwards or right? It's facing upwards, but a lot of enemies in this seem to sidestep. So let's take a swing to its right here. No. Okay. Now they're both going to attack, and they seem to only attack adjacent. So let's back up and hope that they're both taking a swing at the space where we are right now. Yes, okay. Notice that Lunica, Alexandra rather, has a piercing strike. Looks like that has a range of 2, which is useful to know. But the worms, or grubs, are both moving, so I think they're probably going to move out of range of us this time. Or at least the one to the left is. The one straight ahead of us might actually come towards us. Let's attack the space ahead and see if it does. Yes! Good, okay. Now that one's going to be attacking again, and the other one is moving. Well, with the difference between our skill and its skill, we have a good chance of winning a clash if that happens. So let's just go straight at it. Boldly. Like a fearless adventurer. Yep. Took that one out. This one's going to be attacking. Same principle. Our strength is much higher, so let's just go for it. Good. Okay, the rock grubs weren't that bad. Which is to be expected as the first fight in the game, but I mean, fighting fantasy isn't exactly known for the fairness of its battles. Wiping your blade clean of the rock grub's sticky, dark blood, you decide to leave your hiding place before its mate or something even worse turns up. Okay, so we could go back west down the passageway towards where that orc guard is hanging out, or we could keep going east. Well, I mean, we came east to see what's down here, so let's press on. And there's a door. The passageway soon comes to an end at a solid-looking wooden door. Trying to open it, the door refuses to budge. You listen at the door, but hear nothing. With a bit of force, I should be able to get through this door. So we can shoulder barge it, kick it, or turn back. Now, there's a risk that if we try to break the door down, we'll actually do ourselves an injury. I expect it will probably ask us to make some kind of roll. The fact that it gives us 2 different options for how to assault the door concerns me. That suggests to me that one of them is the correct option and the other one is the wrong option. I have played game books where charging a door with your shoulder results in you losing a skill point from damaging your arm, so let's kick it instead. You give the door a mighty kick and it swings open easily. You're about to enter when you notice that the room is actually a pit. Had you charged the door, you'd be nursing a sore rump by now. So if we'd barged it with our shoulder, we'd have just gone through the door and fallen into this pit. And apparently the game has decided we would have landed on our buttocks, which seems like probably the least harmful way to land falling into a pit. Examining the pit, you notice that the sides are full of handholds, so it shouldn't be difficult to climb back out. So it's asking if we want to climb down. Well, there could be some nice loot on people who have previously fallen in, so let's go down and have a look. Looking around, you can see 2 cave entrances leading off from the pit opposite you. Oh, so it actually opens off into tunnels. Mouldering bones litter the floor, small piles of them stuck together in pools of fetid slime. Nice spelling of fetid, by the way. That is one of the correct ways to spell that word, but you don't see it spelt with the O very often, so I'm enjoying that as someone who likes words. You think back to your education on Dwarven architecture, so here we're getting one of Alexandra's attributes, her education attribute, coming into play. Judging by the way this door led straight into a pit, the dwarves must have used this area for the disposal of refuse. We've climbed into a bin! There's just no dignity in this adventuring lark at all. So we can climb out. We can go to the cave on the left or the cave on the right. The one on the right looks like it actually becomes a tunnel. We can't see the rear of it here, but the one on the left looks like a dead end. So why don't we poke our head in there? You enter a small cave with slime dripping from its rough rock walls. A sickly sweet smell assaults your senses as you enter. It is the smell of rotting meat. The remains of rats and even a half-eaten goblin lie in one corner. Oh, who's been eating a goblin in here? In another is a large joint of meat. It looks like whatever is using this place as a larder is saving this choice haunch of giant aardwolf for later. I'm impressed that Alexandra managed to identify this chunk of meat as a piece of giant aardwolf. I wouldn't be able to look at a steak or something and identify the animal that it was from if it didn't say on the packet. Maybe it does. Maybe this is still packaged from the supermarket and it says 2 giant aardwolf steaks on it. So it's indicating pretty clearly here that there's some kind of horrible beastie living down here. So I'm starting to think maybe we should go. I can't imagine that goblin tasted very nice. So we could take the meat, which sounds disgusting. But if we go back down the other tunnel, there were some dogs there which we had to distract with food. So if we take this meat, maybe we can use this to distract them instead of having to throw them our lunch. So let's take it. Now we could investigate the other cave or we could leave. Well, the game has told us that something lives down here, something that eats goblins, so I feel like if we go into the other cave we will just meet that thing. It's possible that it might have a pile of treasure or something, but it's probably not going to be worth it, so let's take off. So I reckon the other tunnel was probably a dead end with the creature living inside it. So we'll head straight onwards. Here's this orcish guard. So previously with Lunica we sneaked past, and I think we had to make a skill check for that. And since Alexandra actually has higher skill than Lunica, we're probably fine to sneak past again. We could wake the orc up to interrogate him, but I reckon that would lead to a fight, and he probably doesn't have anything particularly useful. Then again, I seem to remember the Soul Keeper telling us that the location of the 3 special Zagor keys change in each adventure, so for all we know there might be one in this orc's pocket. You know what, in the interests of doing something different from the previous adventure, why don't we question this orc? We might pull it off. You prod the orc awake with the pommel of your sword. He leaps to his feet, flailing for his weapon, which you swiftly kick out of his reach. I am Alexandra of Blacksand. I seek the eye of the Cyclops. Oh, right. I didn't really clock that. When I was reading the briefing before, I had it in my head that we had the eye of the Cyclops on us and had to take it to Zagor. But we have to find the eye of the Cyclops inside Zagor's own house and take it to him. That's just lazy. If he wants it, it's in his own dungeon. He can just go and get it. Well, anyway, doesn't matter, we're getting paid for it. The orc seems to recognise you, or at least he recognises your sharp sword and heavy armour, because there are no other sharp-sworded, heavily armoured people in this combat-filled fantasy world. Oh, you're Alexandra of Blacksand, the one person in the world who has a sharp sword. He doesn't speak the trade tongue, but his shrugging and snivelling make it clear that you're not going to get any useful information out of him. You tie him up and gag him. Well, at least we didn't have to fight the guy. It was pointless, but harmless. Continue along the passage. So actually, that might be the better option to deal with that guy, because when we sneaked past him, we had to make a skill roll, and if we fail it, I imagine he attacks us. So probably the safest way, counterintuitively, is actually to wake him up. The passageway begins to widen until you enter a cave. Okay, so this is the pair of dogs. So we should be able to chuck them some food. I've come across these poor creatures before on previous quests. In fact, we have on our previous quest as a different person. Orcs generally don't treat them very well, which can make them quite vicious. Alright, you're going to have to deal with them quickly one way or another. So, we'll distract the orc hounds with some food. Remembering your education on the Beasts of Titan, you think back to the notes on orc hounds. Although vicious, they are easily distracted as long as you have the right treat, giant aardwolf meat. So actually, this is going to go better than when we threw them our lunch. If you recall, we chucked them a ham sandwich, and then one of the dogs attacked us anyway. So apparently we need exactly the right kind of meat to get through here. So, we'll throw them the giant aardwolf meat. Taking the giant aardwolf joint from your backpack, you toss it towards the orc hounds. The hungry animals pounce on it immediately. They wrestle over the meat for a moment until they manage to tear it in half with their powerful jaws. Taking their prizes away to opposite sides of the cave, they leave the way through clear. Not hesitating for a second, you take the opportunity to sneak past the orc hounds as they noisily devour the rancid meat. Okay, moving on. So, we came here before, and we went into this room. Oh yes, our first bench, so we've got a checkpoint. We actually don't need to heal or anything, but we need to rest on it in order to get a checkpoint. So we'll have a sit down here, and pointlessly regain some stamina, but also get a checkpoint. Now, we've got this door. With Lunica, we went inside this room and there was a box with a little bit of cash and a mouse inside it. But there was also a sleeping creature. Is it worth it? For the 4 coins, probably not. Although we do know now that we're going to have the option to buy stuff from the Soul Keeper, if/when we get that far. But, again, we don't know where the 3 Zagor keys are going to be this time. Although, I don't know what's going to happen if we actually get to Zagor, because this time we're meant to be delivering something to him. So, is he going to just occupy himself with that delivery while we go and rummage through his treasure in the corner? Unclear. But I would imagine that it's going to result in some kind of fight. So, we will probably need the Zagor keys. The upshot is, let's go in and see if we find a key in this box. So, judging by the remains of the dwarven architecture, the room has not changed much from its original purpose. Sleeping quarters for the night watch. Proving that your educated guess is correct, you see a green-skinned orc asleep on a straw mattress. I wonder what's in that wooden box. So, as with Lunica, we'll try and nick the box without waking the orc up. Treading softly, you easily extract the wooden box from under the table. Your luck holds out as you easily back out of the room without waking the orc. Okay, so luck here is written in bold, and the other one of Alexandra's attributes was that she's lucky, and I did speculate, if you recall, about how that might interface with our luck rolls. It looks like maybe that attribute actually means that sometimes we won't have to make a luck roll at times when we otherwise would, so that could be very useful, considering the times that we've had to make a luck roll and things have gone badly as a result. You leave the room and open the box in the passage. A hidden compartment has been knocked loose, revealing a cache of gold pieces and a mouse. So there's our 4 gold, and we let the mouse go. Okay, no key to Zagor's treasure. Moving on up the corridor. I think this room was the one that had the box of snakes in it. So let's go in there. We know that we need to stab the box, so that should be nice and simple. Oh, interesting. So what we've got here is, in the centre of the room, makeshift wooden table. Under the table is a small box. Because we don't have Lunica Accardi's keen eye, we haven't noticed that the box is shaking or sort of jolting around like Lunica did. So it doesn't occur to Alexandra to stab her weapon into the box, which means that we're going to either open it and probably be bitten by the snakes, or just leave. Now this is kind of an issue, because previously the Zagor key was in this box. Now we have reason to believe it won't be this time, because of what the Soul Keeper told us. But it might be? And it's possible we might get to make a skill roll or a luck roll or something to avoid being bitten, but it might actually just be a fight. And worst possible outcome, it could be just straight up damage. Let's live dangerously. There are carved runes on the box. Due to your excellent education, you can roughly translate these into Snake Surprise. As you pick it up, something rattles within. So whoever put these snakes in a box wrote Snake Surprise on the outside. And there's the snake. You open the lid and small snakes pop out of the box, eager to bite your wrist. So even though Alexandra read Snake Surprise on the outside of the box, she just thought, whatever, I'm sure that doesn't mean anything, and threw it open anyway. Even though you're surprised, you managed to dodge them. Fight the snakes. So possibly the fact that we read the warning on the box might have avoided us taking auto damage there. It's unclear. But we're going to have to actually fight the snakes. Okay, there are two of them. One of them is right next to us, which I'm not super happy about. That one is going to attack us. We don't know, as usual, what the range on its attacks is going to be. Now, we have double its skill, so again, we will probably win any clash that happens. So let's just stab the thing, shall we? And it decided to try and bite the table instead. That's fine. Keep doing that. Let's attack it again. It moved. Okay, it's going to attack us again this time, so once again we will just stab straight at it. It's a clash we should win, unless we roll extremely badly. Yeah, excellent. That snake is going to move. Now, the enemies often like to sidestep, so it could be coming towards us, but it could not. Let's attack the space in front of us in case it comes this way. Yes, success. Then one more hit should do it. Now, it's turned round, so it could be planning to sidestep away from us. So let's use our piercing strike. Oh, another ability, quick jab. I think that number is how much damage it does. So quick jab looks like it only attacks 2 spaces away, unlike the piercing strike and Lunika's poison attack, which cover the intervening space as well. Let's piercing strike it. Oh, okay. I thought that was actually moving. I didn't notice it wobbling, but it worked out. We killed the snakes, no problem. The box has fallen to the ground during your fight with the snakes. There appears to be nothing else inside it. It must have been a practical joke made by one of the orcs. Not much of a joke if they actually wrote Snake Surprise on the outside. Although I suppose they were relying on people being as dumb as Alexandra and just throwing the box open anyway. Yeah, no Zagor key this time, so yes, the locations of the keys have changed. You decide to continue to head deeper into the orcs' barracks. So, we know from last time that if we turn east, we will find that training room, which is full of orcs. Which is kind of bad news. The last time we went that way, and although the tunnel then joins back up with this one to the north here, it did mean that we bypassed this room on the left. So I'm tempted to go north now and check out this door, see what that is. Because I don't think we found anything enormously useful in the training room. No, we had to fight an armourer. Oh, the orcish disguise was down there, wasn't it? Yeah, let's go north. Do something different this time. Further up the passage on the west wall, you see another wooden door. You listen at the door and hear the worst singing you have ever heard in your life. Investigate the hideous din. Let's do it. Let's check out what this terrible singing is. Oi, shut up! The door opens to reveal a small room. The room is dirty and unkempt. A straw mattress lies in one corner, and in the far corner a flight of steps leads out of the chamber. In the centre of the room is a wooden table upon which a candle burns, lighting the room with its flickering flame. A small box rests under the table. Seated around the table are 2 small orcs with warty skin, dressed in leather armour. There they are. Wow, they look like they are not having a good day at all. So I guess this is the break room, and they look suitably knackered. They're drinking some sort of grog. Oh, they're pirate orcs. Okay. And by the way they stagger to their feet on your arrival, you assume they are very drunk. I wonder if they know the whereabouts of the eye. So I could just draw my sword and start hacking at them. I could question them, or I could bail. I feel like it might be worth asking them questions, because we could actually learn something useful, and if they're that drunk, they might not be in the mood to attack us. You there, you command, pointing your sword at the orcs. I seek the eye of the Cyclops. Where can I find it? One of the orcs speaks your language. Don't know about no eye or Cyclops. We're just having a quiet drink. The other orc waves his mace threateningly. At least it would be threatening if he could control it enough to work up a decent swing. Which he can't. I like the way that Alexandra is just mentally belittling these absolutely trashed orcs. Your lips curling in disgust, you leave the orcs to their drinking. There's no need to be prudish about it, Alexandra. Nothing wrong with having a drink. Slam the door and run on up the passage. She's so disgusted that she's slamming the door and sprinting away. The passage splits again. So actually, we could take this southeastern passage into the training room anyway. Let's not bother, because that was mostly danger. Let's keep going north. You arrive at the end of the passage at the three-way junction. So, to the west here, there was a room with someone in it, and a bench in the corner which we didn't get to use. So now that we know the game sometimes requires us to take our own initiative to click on benches that we see scattered around, maybe we can actually get a checkpoint there. I don't remember what the encounter was with the person in there, so let's check it out. I do remember it was a dead end though. Oh, that's right. This was the orc with the weird arm whipping his servant. Although we know he's brutally abusing someone, we also know that the abused goblin is just going to attack us anyway. But is it worth it to try and access that bench? Maybe. Let's do it. Because even if we take a couple of hits in the fight, we should still be able to sit on the bench in the corner, hopefully. See? There's the bench. And the text doesn't offer you the option to sit on it, but hopefully if we click on it, we can do so. You open the door to a large room. Okay. There's the weird armed orc guy whipping his friend. Friend in inverted commas. Okay. What has happened to that poor creature's hand? It looks deformed. Alexandra's been looking at the illustration as well. So, last time we attacked the orc and hoped his servant would aid us, he did not. So we could just attack them both straight off the bat. Let's do that. The battle commences. Okay. So, last time round, the orc spent the first couple of turns trying to destroy the table. I forget whether he had some kind of ranged attack. You know what? Let's help him clear out the room here by also attacking the table. There we go. Right, the orc with the whip is going to attack on the next turn. I forget whether he has 2 spaces range. The goblin is moving though, so let's move that way. Yes, the whip does have a 2-space range. Okay. This guy next to us is going to attack, and we have double his skill, so let's just attack straight at him. Ah, he didn't attack our space anyway. So let's try that again. Ah, he moved aside. Ooh, okay. We did take a hit. Bit careless. Okay, let's move this way on the assumption that the goblin is going to swing at us. Ah. Okay, they're both attacking, which means there's a good chance of us taking a hit from one or the other of them. Let's try to finish off this goblin. We should be able to win the clash, hopefully. We lost it because we rolled extremely poorly and he rolled extremely well. Okay. There's a good chance that they're both moving away from us this time. I think the orc is probably going to sidestep northwards. So, let's throw out our quick jab and see if we can actually do 3 points of damage. Okay, that was kind of shady. Because we did attack the space that the orc moved into, but the attack happened before he moved. If I understand the way that the combat works correctly, that should have hit him. So I'm not keen on that. I mean, how many times have we taken a hit because an enemy attacked a space as we moved into it? That's what we did, but the orc didn't take the hit. Not keen on that. That seems dodgy. I didn't notice which of these wobbled or did not. We can't get out of the orc's way if he's going to attack us, because he's got a range of 2. There's nowhere for us to go, so we might as well try and finish off the goblin. Yeah. We're actually taking a lot of damage here. The orc, I think, is going to move, probably sidestep towards us, so we'll try and attack here. Okay. And let's hit him with another attack. Hopefully we'll win the clash this time. Yes. Okay. And I think they're both going to be moving this time. Now, the orc mostly sidesteps, so I think he's probably going over here. Yes, finished off the orc. The goblin is probably coming straight at us, so let's try to trigger a clash. Oh, he just attacked the wrong space anyway. Okay, well, we took more damage than we should have, but hopefully we can sit on this bench to heal up. The green blood of the dead orcs smells foul as it seeps from their bodies. There's a chest nearby. We didn't smash the chest open last time, so let's do that. The lock was obviously inadequate. It flies off and lands on the floor several meters away. You lift up the heavy lid and your eyes widen as you see the gold sheen coming from within. A fair number of gold pieces are inside. In one corner lies a small black bottle with a tight glass stopper containing a liquid of some kind. But as you're admiring this treasure, you hear a soft click and wince in pain as a small dart shoots forward into your stomach. Of course the box was a trap, which was why we didn't open it when we found it as Lunica. 3 stamina! Ouch! You sink to the floor. You pull the dart out and decide to bandage the wound. This gives some relief, but you're still weak. You decide to take it easy and examine the contents of the chest. So we're actually half dead, more than half dead. Just from this one fight and that stupid box. There's a stash of gold pieces and the label on the bottle shows it to be a potion of invisibility, good for 1 dose. That could be handy. 25 gold. So hopefully that'll help us get some useful stuff when we do get the chance to go shopping. I don't know whether the potion of invisibility is something we can use generally, or whether it's in specific situations only. Yeah, it looks like... Oh, well, it hasn't been added to our inventory yet anyway. So, continue. Will you take the bottle? Yes, I'll take the bottle. You take the potion of invisibility. What a find! This will definitely come in handy. Okay, so now look. Okay, it's not one that we have the option to use from our bag, so I would guess it's only useful in specific circumstances then, and the text will give us the option. I'm a little bit confused that the Resurrection Stone gives us the option to use it manually, since, as far as I know, they trigger when you die. Maybe that could have been something for us to do when the wight ate us earlier on. Maybe we could have opened our bag and manually used the Resurrection Stone or something. That's something to try and remember to try if we end up in a weird situation again. Anyway... the text is offering us the bench this time. So apparently it only offers you the bench if you decide to open the box, which is a bit of a nuisance. You see a bench, it could be an opportunity to take a rest. Well, considering how much damage we've taken, I think we need to both rest and eat, which is frustrating, but so be it. We don't get many opportunities to heal, so let's do it. 10 stamina back, we're almost back to full health. So, there's only one way out of the room, back northwards. And then we have to head back along this passage to the east, where we're presented with a new choice. Now, we went to the north last time, and this is where we found a bunch of rooms with screaming people inside them. In the interest of doing something different, let's go east this time. The passage ends at a solid wooden door with metal hinges. Listening at the door, you hear strange mutterings and the clatter of what could be pots and pans. Whatever is in there, there are several of them. It's the kitchen. The fact that there are people inside makes me think it's going to be a fight if we open the door. But, on the other hand, if it's a kitchen, maybe we can scrape some food together to replace our used provision. Let's check it out. Hopefully, the chefs aren't going to be that tough if we have to fight them. You open the door into a large room. From your education, you are positive that this used to be the dwarves' dining room. The orcs have destroyed most of the original stonework and repurposed it for their own needs. Sitting around a large table are 5 orcs busily drinking and dribbling their bowls of rat gizzard soup. Okay, I don't want to replenish our provisions if it means eating rat gizzard soup. All are involved in a rowdy argument as to who will get to chew the rat bones left in the large soup cauldron so they do not see you enter. I've fought orcs before, 3 at a time quite easily. I think you're overestimating yourself. Fighting 3 enemies at once is not easy. But 5? Definitely don't want to fight 5 at once. So, let's leave. Back down the passage, and this time north. I mean, we could have fought those orcs there, but considering the trouble we've had with 3 enemies or 4 enemies, or in some cases even 2, I really don't want to have to fight 5. That seems like inviting trouble. So, here we are, back in this room that has all the screaming doors. I don't remember whether we found anything particularly useful in the room with the slime beast in it. We didn't have to fight, I remember that, but I don't remember there being anything particularly good in there. The first door on the right has that shriveled old man in there who attacked us because we were dressed like an orc before, but this time we're not, so let's crack that one open first. You unbolt the door and swing it open. A nauseating stench hits your nostrils. Inside the room, the floor is covered with bones, rotting vegetation, and slime. A wild-haired old man, clothed in rags, rushes at you, screaming. Is he going to attack us anyway? So, as before, we can try to calm him down by yelling. You shout, "You're freed, old man!" at the top of your voice. Instantly, his rantings cease. He stops dead in his tracks and sinks to the floor, weeping loudly. Okay, so because we're not wearing orc clothes this time, that actually worked. Somehow bellowing at him successfully calmed his nerves. Alexandra of Blacksand, finally a familiar face. We're so famous that a random prisoner in this dungeon recognises us on sight. You have my eternal gratitude. As he gradually composes himself, he thanks you many times. Many years ago, he was an adventurer like you, in search of the Warlock's treasure. He was captured by the orcs and thrown into his solitary cell as a sort of pet for the creatures. Okay, so maybe that's why he recognises us then. I was a little bit puzzled as to how a world of medieval tech would have random people recognising my face. I mean, it's not like they can see broadcasts of me. But if he was an adventurer, then maybe we've actually met at some point. This must be the Arendegar that I've heard about. There have been many tales told of this great warrior. Sadly, his time in confinement has not been kind to him. Well, no. I mean, he's in really bad shape. Lunica Cardi smacked him down in one hit. You ask the man about the Eye of the Cyclops. His memory is poor after so long in isolation, but he says he has heard of such a thing. Rumours of an immense gem powering an evil construct which draws life from demonic power. I always thought it was just a superstitious rumour, though. Ah, we gained a luck point. Now, we can't go beyond our maximum, so that actually didn't benefit us, but if we had had to spend a point of luck on something, we would have regained it here. We'll leave his cell, back out into the hall, and we have the 3 other doors. So we know that the first door on the left is a torture chamber which just has a couple of orcs in it, torturing a dwarf who's dead anyway. So it's probably not worth opening that unless we want to fight. Second door on the left, I actually don't remember. Oh, was that the one that had the shield in it? I'm not sure if Alexandra uses a shield. Lunica didn't, so it was no good to her, but it might actually be useful to Alexandra, so let's crack that one open. The door is unlocked. Opening it, you find yourself at the threshold of the Orc's weapons store. Yeah, there's the shield with the moon on it. A circular iron shield with a gold crescent lies at the far end of the room. Okay, so Alexandra doesn't use a shield either, so once again, useless. We did search it as Lunica and find nothing, but we might as well have a look around in case it's different. You poke around the room, the weapons are blunted and worthless, so far the same. Behind one of the breastplates is a shiny key, it seems quite important. So, one of the Zagor keys was stashed in this room, so it was actually worth checking it out. Ah, that's a point. So on that basis, it could be worth searching the Slime Beast room anyway, in case there's another one in there. I would assume there wouldn't be two this close together, but you never know. So I guess we'll open the second door to the right, and see how the Slime Beast situation goes. So here's the Orc, who's been locked in by his buddy. Panicked looking goblin. Oh, wow. Oh, I see. So, we actually had a lot more effects from the Orcish disguise last time than I realised. Because last time we opened this door, the imprisoned goblin, or orc or whatever, goblin, just ran off in a bit of a huff. But this time, because we're not disguised as an orc, we're actually going to have to fight both of them. So, I was expecting this to be easy, but instead we're going to have a fight on our hands. Having not fought a Slime Beast before, we don't know what this thing does. It's going to attack us though, it had a bit of a wobble there. As always, the question is whether it's going to attack where we are now or an adjoining space. Let's move and see if we can at least get eyes on how it attacks. Okay, so that was a simple one-space attack adjacent. The goblin is going to attack this time, but the Slime Beast is not, so let's move back. Okay. Goblin is going to move, Slime Beast is going to attack. We have the highest skill, so let's go straight at it. Okay. Ah, it has one of those two-space attacks, like a couple of other things we've fought. Looks to me like the Slime Beast is going to be moving away from us this time. I didn't see whether the goblin was going to attack. Quite possibly it is. So maybe we should attack at the goblin instead. Or we could move. Let's attack the goblin. Oh, they both moved. Okay, my mistake. Okay, let's use our piercing strike against this Slime Beast. It's a clash. Let's win. Let's win. Because we rolled so poorly, we lost it, even though really we should have won it. Statistically. Annoyingly, the Slime Beast has poisoned us, which means we're going to be hemorrhaging stamina for the next couple of turns, which is bad. So once again, we're really taking more damage than we should. Still, we've almost done with the Slime Beast here. Hopefully, we can just finish it off. Okay. The goblin is going to be attacking, I think. So let's go straight at it. And then one more hit should finish the goblin off. It is going to be moving this turn, I think. So let's go attack over here in anticipation that it's going to sidestep away. Successful guess. Okay, we won, but again, we took more damage than we really should have. Initially, it looks as though there's nothing of value in the Slime Beast's cell. Oh, that's right, we got the blue candle, something that we never found any use for last time round. Well, we'll take it, because of course we will. And then we're back out here. Again, let's leave the torture chamber alone, because I don't think there's any benefit to going in there. Because we're not in disguise, we're probably going to have to fight this guard on the way out. So we'll head towards this bridge, across the sewer, and one of the goblins spots you and its eyes turn wide. Black sand! Black sand! It exclaims and it begins to run towards you. So this guy actually recognises us as well. We have the option to not draw our weapon. Which makes me think that might be the way to go. Like, maybe it wants an autograph or something. It's calling out part of our name here. The tiny creature runs up towards you and begins to hug your leg. It is pleased to see you. How short is this goblin? I didn't think goblins were so short that they're at leg-hugging height. Black sand! Black sand! It wails with glee over and over. It seems that this goblin has heard of you and become a fan. If it's heard of me, then it probably knows I have a reputation for murdering goblins and other creatures. I'm a little bit surprised that it's a fan of me. I'm getting tired of this. Let go, idiot. You, Alexandra, really need a better way of dealing with your fans. Be polite. The goblin only grips tighter. Black sand! Black sand! You whack it on the head with your sword hilt and the creature loosens its grip, dazed. With a violent shake, you send the goblin off the bridge and into the sewer flow below. Okay, tip for anyone who finds themselves in a position where you have fans of your work. Don't smack them on the head and then kick them into a sewer. It's generally considered bad form. Oops, I'm sure that goblin will be fine. Most of them can swim. It's in a sewer. Whether it can swim or not isn't really the issue. Also, you concussed it before you kicked it into the sewer. Anyway, I guess we're leaving the Orc Barracks, and we're moving on to this portcullis with the 2 levers. So, based on last time, we need to pull the smooth lever, but because we're not observant Lunica Arcadi, it doesn't tell us which one is the smooth one. I think the smooth one was the right-hand lever. Yes, the portcullis slides open, and we step forward. Okay, here's this panicky student who told us some useful stuff previously. Ian the White. I'm a humble acolyte seeking entry to the School of Sorcery. You learn that he gained entry but was deemed unworthy by the Elemental Masters. Well, this time we're not actually looking for one of the Elemental Masters, so maybe he won't know anything helpful. But we can ask him about where the eye is, I suppose. Ask about the eye of the Cyclops. You ask the young acolyte if they know the whereabouts of the ruby that you seek. He becomes frightened once more when you mention the name. Yes, I know this eye that you seek. It belongs to the Cyclops himself, who resides in what is left of the Dwarven Halls over to the east. Follow the passage, and whatever you do, always make sure you stay heading east. There you will find it. So the Eye of the Cyclops is an actual eye of an actual Cyclops, and the Cyclops is alive and still has the eye. So does that mean we're actually going to have to pluck the eyeball from a living Cyclops? This is not what I signed up for. The young man points down the passageway before pushing past you and running off. Oh, I suppose we should have asked him about the School of Sorcery, because he didn't give us the password to the Hungry Doors this time. Hopefully it's the same, but maybe it isn't. So, we will move onwards to the east, because that's the way he told us to go. Now, actually, we're not going to come up to the Hungry Doors this time, I think, because we went west last time, so all of this should be new to us. Cautiously, you creep along the passageway. After a short time, you reach a fork in the path, with the path continuing northwards. Eastwards, you can see a broad stone bridge. Okay. Well, there's a bench, so we get a checkpoint, and we get to sit down and regain some health. So, if we sit down and eat, we'll get 10 stamina back. If we just sit down, we'll get 5. 10 is overkill, but 5 isn't enough. Still, 5 will take us to 16 stamina, which is most of our stamina back, and I don't want to blow through our provisions too early on, so I think let's just sit and have a normal rest here. You sit down on the bench and rest for a moment. Your aching muscles ease and your tiredness wanes. It's good to take a break. 5 stamina back. While this rest is appreciated, I should press on quickly. That eye is close. I can feel it. And I think at this point we will call it a day in Alexandra's adventure. We've just hit a checkpoint, so it seems like a convenient point to stop for the day. And we're about to head into the unknown, so we have that to look forward to the next time. So this episode didn't go the way I expected. I was not expecting Lunica Arcadi to be unceremoniously eaten by something that we didn't have the option to fight. So again, I'm not super happy with how that encounter went down, but you know, we're taking a new adventure here, with a new character who has much higher skill and although the battles actually haven't gone that well so far, we're not in a terrible position. We're at almost full stamina, good skill, we haven't spent any of our luck, and we're about to head into an area of the dungeon that we haven't seen before. So, thanks for watching, as always. Rejoin me the next time when we will head into the unknown with the skillful, but not particularly great in battle so far, Alexandra of Blacksand. Apparently an adventuress so famous that just everyone recognises her on sight. So, yeah, thanks for watching as always, and I will see you the next time. Until then, bye for now.